C Ray Tech here. So as you could see in the intro, I built myself a hovercraft, and I have been having a ton of fun with these things. Man, the weather in Michigan has just been such a roller coaster. We'll have spring 60, 70 degree temp, and then it'll snow a few days later. And it's been raining, and we've had just, I don't know, they've been running through the old gambit of weather. So just before I left for Reno, I had checked out the hovercraft craze and I fell in love with it. So I decided when I came back I was going to make one of my own. And I've been just really impressed. It's worked really well, and I'm excited to share this with everybody here. And I hope everybody else is excited too, because if you've not tried one of these, I think you should. They're a lot of fun. Yep, these are 3D printed, so I'll go over the basic design and what led me to this point in my design, and what I feel is its some advantages. So the first thing first is it's 3D printed. I'm using PLA. It's 2mm thick frame, so it's nice and rigid. So you can crash and crash and crash and crash and crash. And today it's about freezing outside, so it's pretty cold. And I was crashing it a whole bunch, and I had no cracks. I had no stress fractures at the layer lines. It's been holding up really well. I designed this to be press fit for the most part. So once you remove the ducts from your frame, you should be able to press them in, and they should press fit just fine. Now, because there's some slight variances, I also can't control how much people trim back on their ducts. Some of them you may have to use a slight dab of hot glue. I noticed that I had to, because there is a slight size difference between the E010 frame and the Beta 65 frame, which I've been building these mostly with 6mm motors. A huge thank you to Benedict at Micromotor Warehouse. He had a really awesome raffle not too long ago, and I got a ton of these 6mm by 15mm 19,000 kV motors, and these things scream in these little hovercrafts. I noticed that in some of the quad builds that I was using them in, they got kind of hot, but I don't really notice too much heat on them in this, so I think I found a perfect fit for them. I'm using 4-blade props. These are just your standard Eachine props with the 0.8mm shaft to match the 6mm motors. On the inside, in the guts, I have used a number of different flight controllers, all of which have yielded the same results, some a little bit better than others. But I've narrowed it down to, I feel that the Beta FPV Lite flight controller, which I do not have installed currently. This is the FR Sky. I believe this one is the one without OSD. And these two are the E011 flight controllers. So the E011 flight controllers are awesome. Number one, very affordable. Number two, you can flash silverware on them, so if you do fly with one, you can fly acro. And then also, massive thank you to the wonderful people at Silverware and Not Fast Enough for a firmware specific to these hovercrafts. So I will be flashing both of these very soon, as soon as I get my new ST-Link cable. I'll be able to show you guys all the advantages of using that firmware too. So, like I said, I mean, if it's a brushed flight controller, you can pretty much use this. And I'm using a 4-in-1 module that I got, and I'm using my Trans to control these, and it's just, I can't tell you how much fun I've been having. It's just awesome. FPV is great, and just driving these things is incredibly simple. It's really easy to get the hang of. If you flew quads, or even if you haven't flown quads, I handed this off to probably 24 different people, and everybody figured it out within a few minutes and was having a whole lot of fun. Very low frustration, and like I said, even the builds are really simple. So to control one of these, if you've not played with one of these yet, throttle up is going to be your forward acceleration. If you want to give what I like to call a little bit of warp speed, you can actually pitch forward too, which will give you a little bit more acceleration. Excuse me. Your yaw, left and right, is going to control your left and right movements. You can actually sharpen your cornering, I've found, by using your roll along with your yaw in your turns. If you want to do a wheelie or go backwards, you can actually throttle up and pitch back a little bit, and that'll actually cause the front to hover. You'll see that in the footage that I'm going to show you guys next. I'll have some FPV footage along with some line of sight footage so you guys can check that out. But yeah, these things are really, really easy to build, really easy to drive. They are tons of fun, and you got to check them out. So I'm going to be doing pre-orders here pretty soon. So if you guys want to pick up this frame, I'll have them available. I'm going to have a lot more videos revolving around these peppered into my channel. Like I said, I'm going to be going over the firmware that's available through Silverware for the Eoshin EZ11 flight controllers and pretty much anything that's compatible with Silverware. I'm also hoping to begin to play with Betaflight and see if I can find a way to get Betaflight working with these really well. They work well, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a little bit of tweaking that needs to be done because I found personally that the EZ11 firmware, not only from Silverware but from Eoshin themselves, really works well. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about these, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm also going to be putting down a link in the description that'll have a contact page, so you'll be able to visit www.craytechblog.com/contact. And if you guys are interested in the pre-order, or if you would like to, you know, send me some feedback, donations, anything like that, you'll be able to reach me there. I generally always send out that link when anybody has any questions, because that's an easier way for me to keep track of everybody's requests and questions and everything that's directed towards me, because I'm really active on a lot of different social medias, and I would hate to miss somebody's question or you know, miss a request or anything like that. So that'll be the best place to reach me. I'm going to make sure that it's always included in every description, so if you guys ever have any questions, you can always leave a comment. But if you want to go more in depth, or if you just want to say hey, just go ahead and shoot over to that link, and you'll be able to send me a direct email. But yeah, so stay tuned. I've got some footage so you guys can check this thing out in action, and I hope you guys had a good time, or I hope that you guys will have as good of a time as I have with these things. And yeah, I think the only thing left is I want to give it a name. So far I've came up with the C Ray Tech Scooter, or Scooter, because I feel like it's you know, hauling ass and scooting across the floor. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think. If you guys got a suggestion for the name, I would love for you guys' feedback on that. But I think that's going to be all for me today. So as always, guys, well, scoot safe and scoot often in this case. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video.